You're wearing clothes right now, probably didn't think about it this morning. It just felt obvious, natural. But here's the thing, clothing is not natural. It's one of the strangest things humans ever invented. And the reason we started wearing it has almost nothing to do with what you were taught. Not modesty, not religion, not even really cold weather at first. The real answer comes from something nobody expected: lice. Specifically, the DNA of lice. In 2010, researcher David Reed at the University of Florida spent 5 years sequencing the DNA of body lice. He wasn't trying to solve a fashion mystery. He was tracking human migration patterns. But what he found was a date. Body lice, the kind that live in clothing, split off from head lice about 170,000 years ago. And that split could only happen one way. Humans had to already be wearing clothes for body lice to evolve separately. So that's our answer. 170,000 years ago. But wait, here's where it gets strange. Africa, where the average temperature is around 25 degrees Celsius, you do not need a winter coat in that heat. So why were they wearing clothes at all? To understand that, you need to go back even further. About 1 million years ago, humans lost most of their body hair. We know this from genetic research into skin pigmentation. Our ancestors went from furry to essentially naked in evolutionary terms, and they stayed that way, hairless with no clothing, for roughly 800,000 years, just existing in the heat of Africa with bare skin. That was fine. The heat kept them warm. The shade kept them cool. Then, about 180,000 years ago, something changed. An ice age hit. For the first time, bare skin at night was genuinely dangerous. And that's when humans started experimenting with wrapping animal skins around themselves. Not for fashion, not for modesty. To survive one cold night. The lice data says this started about 170,000 years ago. And here's the part that really surprised researchers. Humans started wearing clothes about 70,000 years before they actually needed them for cold climates. They were experimenting with clothing long before leaving Africa, tinkering with it, trying things out. And when they finally did move into colder regions of Europe and Asia around 100,000 years ago, they already knew exactly what to do. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so it was warmth after all. But that's only the beginning of the story. Because here's what happened next. Around 50,000 years ago, in Denisova Cave in Siberia, something remarkable was left behind. A needle, made from bird bone, 7 centimeters long, with a hole drilled through the top. This is the oldest sewing needle ever found anywhere on Earth. And here's the twist. It wasn't made by modern humans. It was made by the Denisovans, a separate species of ancient human we only discovered in 2010, a species we knew almost nothing about. Yet they were already sewing fitted clothes 50,000 years ago, which means tailored clothing wasn't invented once by one group. Multiple species of human figured it out independently. Around 40,000 years ago in Europe, archaeologists found bone needles at sites across Siberia and Europe. These were stitched, fitted garments shaped to the body. That takes planning, skill, and a reason beyond just keeping warm, because loose animal skins keep you just as warm as a tailored fit. So why bother? Because something else had entered the picture. Status, identity, belonging. In ancient Rome, only senators could wear garments dyed with Tyrian purple. In imperial China, only the emperor could wear yellow robes. In traditional Hawaiian society, only chiefs could wear cloaks made of feathers. Clothing had become a system of power written on the body. But there's one more theory that's older than all the rest, and it's the one most people still assume is true: that humans started wearing clothes because of modesty, because we felt shame about our bodies. The Garden of Eden theory: clothes as a response to shame. Here's the problem with that. Many groups of people around the world lived with minimal or no clothing for thousands of years and felt no shame at all. Aboriginal Australians, in warm regions, wore almost nothing. The Yanomami people of the Amazon still wear almost nothing today. Shame about the body appears to arrive after clothes, not before. You have to be covered up before you feel wrong about being uncovered. Anthropologist Ian Gilligan has spent decades studying clothing origins. His conclusion: clothing started as a practical tool against cold, then became a social signal, and only much later, once wearing clothes was normal, did the idea of nakedness as shameful emerge. It wasn't the cause, it was the consequence. Now, let's talk about the actual materials. Because the oldest clothing we've ever found is not that ancient. Fabric rots, leather rots, plant fiber rots. Almost nothing survives 10,000 years, let alone 170,000. The oldest woven fabric fragments ever found date to about 27,000 years ago, from Denisova Cave in Georgia. They were made from wild flax fibers, spun and twisted by hand. And they were dyed. Someone 27,000 years ago was choosing colors, not for warmth, for appearance. The warmth problem had already been solved. Now they were making art. Once humans were routinely covered up, the social rules around bodies changed permanently. In societies where everyone wore clothes, the face and hands became the only visible signals of identity. Hairstyles, jewelry, makeup, all of these exploded in complexity. Because the body was hidden, everything visible had to carry more meaning. You can trace a direct line from the first animal skin thrown over a shoulder to why you spend 20 minutes choosing what to wear this morning. But there's one last thing worth mentioning. Clothes didn't just change how we look, they changed where we could go. Without clothing, modern humans could not have survived the temperatures of Northern Europe or Siberia. The invention of fitted sewn clothing was what unlocked the entire Northern Hemisphere. Every human alive today in Canada, Scandinavia, Russia, Northern China descends from people who figured out how to stitch animal skins together well enough to survive winter. That's the real story of clothing. Not modesty, not religion. A louse that evolved. A cold night in Africa. A Denisovan sewing bird bone in a Siberian cave. And a species that started tinkering 70,000 years before it needed to, and ended up colonizing the entire planet because of it. Next time you get dressed in the morning, remember, the shirt you're putting on is 170,000 years of human problem solving, and we have their DNA to prove it. If you found this interesting, you know what to do. There are 300,000 years of human history full of surprises like this. 1. And we're just getting started. See you next time.